Okay, so this is Walter's Roadmap to Success video, and I just want to go over a couple of things that we talked about in today's session. So one of the first things that we addressed was just making sure that we're handling him nipping, chewing kind of at you, as well as your clothes, shoelaces, things like that. So the first thing that you want to do is remember that it's all about timing. Dogs don't know the difference whether they've been nipping and kind of biting at you during play for a while, is they don't understand that that's something that's inappropriate. So what you want to do, as soon as they make contact with your skin with, kind of biting or mouthing at you, stop playing then. That way they understand that that is specifically the thing that triggered you to stop. So essentially, we don't want to engage with the dog anymore, or the puppy, because that will make it more fun. Dogs have a higher pain tolerance than we do, so there's really no use in small punishments, plus it's not really going to be that effective. Most dogs would see something like that as being kind of playful back, so if you kind of push them away to say kind of move away from me, they're usually just going to come jumping back ooh, fun, I'm bounding back at you. We're playing kind of a push and pull game. So usually the best way to just go about it is just to stand up and kind of move away from them. If they're being particularly naughty and they keep kind of jumping up at your hands or doing or going after your feet and your clothes, then leave the room. You can just walk into the bathroom, into a bedroom, and just close the door behind you. And then you want to stay there until he's calm. If he's whining, crying on the other side of the door, doing anything to kind of demand your attention, then you want to stay in the room until he stops. Because otherwise, if you open the door when he's crying, whining, you're essentially rewarding that behavior, and then he'll keep doing that. And you're teaching him a new bad behavior by accident. So remember to just kind of stay in there until he's nice and calm. The next thing that we wanted to chat about was how to help him kind of learn how to use different command words with things he already does, which is we call passive training. So with passive training, if he sits on his own, you pet him and say sit. If he lays down, say down and pet him. So we're essentially training him to do things based on what he's already doing, and then labeling it with a word, and then using positive reinforcement to reward him for that good behavior. You can do that with pretty much anything. If he's walking backwards down the hallway, you can say retreat. If he does anything at all that you think is cute, say he does a fun little play bow or something like that, you could start labeling it, and then he'll start doing it on his own. So that's what passive training is. Then the next thing that we talked about is a little bit more of active training. So we played that shaping behavior game. I want to refer to the video above this one to kind of go over the specifics on how to go about that. But you can use that to pretty much teach him to do anything, which is the fun thing. And you can come up with new challenges. It's a great mental stimulation to keep him from being bored, so he's not chewing on other things in the house, which we also want to prevent. So I want to refer you to that video. But back to him chewing on things in the house, we discussed getting a puppy playpen, because you can't watch him at all times of the day, all the time. So that way he is confined in a safe space with a bed, some toys, a bone, something that he can have that's appropriate to chew on, and it's also going to help prevent him from doing the behavior you don't want him to do. He's starting to use chewing on things in the furniture as a way to get attention and to solicit your attention. And to prevent that, we don't want to ignore it, because then he'll keep chewing on things inappropriately, but we also don't want to give him too much attention, because we don't want it to become he chews on things to get attention and then you end up playing with him. So we're going to use the puppy playpen as a way to help prevent him from chewing on things inappropriately when you're preoccupied and doing other things. It also gives you a nice little break. And then we want to turn the kennel into a fun game. So remember to make it fun. Start using the clicker, train him to run all the way to the back of the kennel. So that's more rewarding than him just kind of stepping into it, because then he'll kind of just put his nose in, try to barely crawl into it. But get him to be excited where he starts kind of running to the back of it, turning around and looking at you and waiting for you to say break or a release word for him to come out, and then you give him a treat, and it becomes a fun game. So try to do this when you're not going to be putting him in the kennel for long periods of time, and make it just a separate entertaining game so he builds up a really positive association with the kennel. And then when you have friends over, encourage them to ignore his behavior until he's calm and he's sitting down. Once he starts to sit, they can pet him, and you can blame me, tell them that I told you to say this, so that way you don't have to come across as the bad guys. But it is really good for him, because if he jumps up on them and they pet him, they're essentially training him to jump up on, strangers or new people. So we want to help train your friends and family to also wait to pet him. And then we also discussed marrow bones as a great way to help keep good oral hygiene for him, and a positive way for him to get some of that chewing and biting out in a positive way. And then last, I want to remind you that everything you do trains your dog, only sometimes you mean it.